Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Life's Unfair, my Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous playthrough series. Today we're essentially just going to be cleaning up the remainders of Act 2. First we're going to start off in Heaven's Edge, where I'm just going to highlight a couple of items that you really don't want to miss. I'm going to be skipping through the rest of it. After that, we're going to be heading over to the underground hideout to fight some demons. Then it's off to the ruins of Ashberry Hamlet to fight what seems like the ghost of Omni-Man. That thing was just insane. And then finally, we're going to be heading over to clean up the remnants of the demons in the last chapel. And well, there are a lot of them. Got our work cut out for us. But let's head on into the episode. So this quest is pretty cool. Right, gives us some insight. Alright, so this is the first thing you don't want to miss, right? In this room over on the side here, 203 diamond dust. Amazing. You definitely want to pick this up. These bracers are also pretty cool. I will show you their stats in a second here. But definitely, so that you can see the location of the chest. Look at that. Clear purpose, cast healing spells without provoking attacks of opportunity, and +2 bonus on concentration checks. Great for any healers, right? If you run Darren in your party. If you run Ember as a healer, definitely worth picking up. So you can see the rest of the quest here. It's pretty cool. Gives us some good insight into Darren's backstory. Darren is one strange cat. He does, and this is it's a pretty fun quest from a lore standpoint. There's no combat or anything, but I like the quest overall. Just the interactions that you can have with the character and the backstory. His backstory is also really interesting. So he's possessed by some extra dimensional being here. This is the other thing you don't want to miss, right? Draven's hat. This thing's amazing for Nenyo casting haste and being able to haste some of her other spells. Spectacular. It requires you to pass a perception check, so definitely bring a high perception character. Wand of Mirror Image, 25 charges. You can drop that on, say the healer. Drop that on Ember. Now she has 25 charges of Mirror Image. A diamond and, Swirl of Echolocation. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, you can use that to scribe it to spellbook for Nenyo, I guess. Yeah, so those are the things you don't want to miss. This, the perception check, and then Draven's hat and stuff like that. Definitely don't miss those. Alright, after that, we are going to be heading on out to the underground hideout. So nothing too crazy in the outside part of this, just some animals that you can kill and skin if you like. Then there's a little lore tidbit over here that gives you an idea of what's going on if you pass the check. Right, bodies covered in terrible wounds. They were left not by animals' teeth, but by a skillful torturer's hand. So something sinister going on in here. Here's a magic essence. Definitely pick that up while you're here. Then we headed over into the cave, ran into 2 Incubi. They're not bad at all. The only thing I will say here is definitely make sure you have your tank out in front, because they are, right, you won't be able to see them when you come in. They're invisible. So if you have somebody squishy out front, they're just going to pop on them and destroy, absolutely annihilate them. You can see how much damage they're doing to Razorfiend, but I picked up some mythic talents, so it's not as easy to kill me anymore. Actually, do I have that yet in this video? Or do I pick it up later? Either way, it isn't too bad. 2 Incubi, not bad. What is bad is what we encounter further in here, right? Yeah, proceed in here, and then boom. Will-o-wisps. These things don't take a lot of physical damage, and you can see they do a lot of magical damage as well. So be careful with these guys. They're tough to manage in terms of aggro. So keeping them on the tank is tough. You definitely want to run into them. Don't let them kind of run into you. Or make sure your tank's out front again. But if you do that, it's not too bad. And yes, they are very susceptible to magic damage. So Nenyo with Magic Missile, absolutely invaluable. So we're able to take them down without too much trouble here. We're at a point where, right, only when we get surprised by encounters do we really, well, there are definitely encounters like this one where the element of surprise isn't necessary for me to be annihilated. It doesn't look too bad initially, right? Okay, 3 Incubi. Okay, I can take this on. Not bad at all. And then Big Daddy shows up over here and it's like, oh my god, what is that dude standing in the background? That's huge. Shival the Pain Connoisseur, and let me tell you, this guy is actually a connoisseur of pain. He knows pain, he knows how to take pain, and he knows how to inflict pain especially well. Gonna speed through this real quick until we get to our strategy. Right, so I get absolutely crushed here. You can see the Incubi themselves, the 3 Incubi, they go down fairly easy. Not even really cheesing it too much. But Shival, no, not having any of it. Several attempts later, I'm like, okay, well, what are we gonna do here? Mass summons, sure, that's worked in the past. So I do mass summon, right, everything at my disposal, including, you know, the devas and stuff from the item that we picked up near Zacharias. But what I notice is they're not going to be enough to kill him. The summons themselves are not going to be enough to kill him and his Incubi. So what I do is I just leave the summons on him and run away, and then opt for the standard Ember Slumber, Razor Fiend coup de grace strategy. And this is rough, because he has a will save of 29, so even if you reduce it with Ember, right, with Evil Eye, it'll drop down to 25, but that's still not going to be anywhere near enough for Ember to get a slumber off. So you're dependent on a nat, well, not a nat 20, but a natural 1. You're dependent on him rolling a natural 1 and then failing the check that way. And then after that, his fortitude save isn't too bad, it's 25. So assuming you're decently kitted out, you should have at least probably around a 20% chance of landing a coup de grace. So it's still painful. I would recommend not doing what I did here. I would definitely recommend casting Evil Eye on him before you try to coup de grace him, just to get his fortitude save down, so you guarantee, or at least give yourself a 50% chance to land that, because, yeah. So you can see here some of the loot that we picked up in here. Chainmail of Comradery, amazing item, plus 3 mithril chainmail, gives you a flanking bonus. And so yeah, that's going on Camellia, because she does some crazy damage later on. She's actually the person that got me through Joran Vein and Staunton Vein. Well, Staunton Vein. Joran Vein wasn't bad, but Staunton, she's the one that got me through that fight, basically. Okay, and now here we are in the ruins of Ashberry Hamlet. Let me tell you, this place is horrible. The corpulent specters cast, you know, level drain and stuff. You could see the pit that thing creates is also insane. It has like tentacles. Looks like some old god crap. Cthulhu. You expect a giant eyeball to appear in the middle, or a giant squid face or something. Cthulhu or Cthulhu to show up and just yeah. And it's really hard to resist his spells. You can see his spells. So my strategy here, let me talk about my strategy here so we don't waste time. My strategy here is to have them kill themselves. You can see the spikes that he spawns there. So the ghosts will not fall into the pit, but they can be hit by those spikes, and he can be hit by those spikes. It's really not the small ghosts that you need to worry about. It's really the ancient Sarkorian ghosts that is the big problem here. So my strategy was make him spawn that spike, you know, spike effect on the ground or whatever, and then have him walk into it. And it does end up working here, right? You can see I'm trying to position him in such a way, and the big problem is that he just keeps casting that pit spell. So what I end up doing is I have to bait out the pit spell. So the idea is, okay, I'm going to bait out the pit spell. Right, Doggo's taking the pit. Now Razor Fiend can come and bait him into the spikes. Right, so you do need somebody to bait out the pit spell, and every time you reload, all his spells refresh. So he, even if you bait it out now, if you save it and reload the game, he'll cast it again. So you can see I've baited it out now. He hasn't cast pit, he only has one charge of it, and then he walks into the blade barrier, and that's the key here. And this is the mistake that I made. This is what cost me about another almost full hour. I walked into the pit. And so yes, he goes down. Look at this. He goes down. You definitely want to do this because look how much EXP he gets. 3,456 EXP for a single kill. He goes down, but then I'm in the pit, and getting out of the pit took me a long time. You know, I was trying everything. I was trying to dispel the pit. I was trying to heal myself. You can't heal when you're in the pit. You can't use potions. You can't change items. You can't do anything. Nobody can heal you or anything like that. And in the end, what it came down to, so I was like, oh, am I going to have to reload and redo this? And I'm like, oh my God, please no. But in the end, we got super, super lucky. And what it came down to was really this. Right, I'm trying to dispel here. You can dispel, but Razor Fiend, he's one hit away from dying, unfortunately. And yeah, that's what it came down to in the end. It came down to a reflex saving throw. Look at that, nat 20. I cannot reflex saving throw that. The DC is 39, so even a nat 20 only got me to a 38. But nat 20s, right? The power of nat 20s. So that got us out, and then that saved it. All right, so here we are back at the good old Lost Chapel. And this is how all the encounters in here, almost every encounter in here comes down to this, all the remaining encounters. You can use the cliff sides to just kill everything in here. It's some free EXP, free loot. Definitely want to do it because there is some good stuff here. And you can see, yeah, just... So, one thing to note here is a lot of these... So you can see I was only able to kill 2 ghouls there, and there are a ton more in the background there. The only way to really get them to come to the base of the cliff here, right, even if you cast Entangle on them, that'll get them into combat, but it's not going to pull them to the base of the cliff. So what you gotta do is this. You gotta summon stuff down at the base of the cliff. That'll trigger them to start walking towards the base of the cliff. And bring them into range of shots. One other thing to note here is that if there are a bunch of things kind of on the edge of your vision there, make sure you're shooting all of them, because the one that you're shooting at will stay in combat, but even ones that are standing right next to it that are on the edge of your vision may drop combat, and that means that you will have to resummon more stuff to pull that stuff in and get, be able to see it. You can see here, this thing, Half-Fiend, Gargoyle, Chieftain. Look, can you imagine fighting? Look how many... I can't hit it. I just can't hit it. I mean, with spells, I guess, sure. It's basically something that you have to kill with spells. Drops Amulet of Mighty Fist +2, Cloak of Resistance +1, and you get this Blaze of Disaster. That thing is really cool. It is really cool for Nenyo, because, look at this. It gives you the ability to cast a level 8 fireball 3 times a day. That's a lot of damage. So I do give it to Nenyo because I've equipped the Ring of the Salamander on Ember. I may actually end up giving it to Ember because I've given her an ability, a mythic ability, which makes her be able to ignore fire resist. So I may end up giving it to her in the end, but it's on Nenyo for now, just because more people being able to cast means more turns that I'm able to throw fireballs. So sometimes, if you want to one-shot something, you throw like 3 fireballs at it. Might be enough. Alright, and then you can see, right, again, just pulling stuff to the cliffside. So when you do initially aggro them, they'll take a few steps towards you, but then they'll stop, and if they stop outside aggro, you gotta drop some skelly summons down there to really pull them in. I mean, I suppose Ember could also drop her summons if she has summoned monster and stuff. That'll also work. I don't know what the range is on that. I don't think it's that high. It may or may not work. I don't remember. But Skellies definitely work. After that, right, you can see where this is going. Okay, so this one's pretty cool because we go up here and the Gargoyles spawn in. We're not in combat, and so crucially, we are able to just click the one that takes us back down, and then we're down. And then those guys are just stuck up there. I love the fact that Gargoyles are pure melee. All they can do is stand up there and smite, but they can't do anything. They're helpless. Look at all the arrows peppering the cliffside there. My guys are some Robin Hood quality shots. Look at that. There are more arrows than stone on that cliffside. Absolutely pathetic. But there are so many athletics and mobility checks here. Bring somebody that has good athletics and mobility, because failing these checks is just, it's a nightmare, because there's a loading screen between every one, and you take damage and you miss out on EXP, and yeah, it's not fun. Alright, after that we are finally into the undead section. We've cleared out most of the gargoyles in this place, and now we're taking out the ghouls. And you can see what we did here. We're coming back to this cliffside that we have access to, and we're pulling the gargoyles to us. But this encounter does prove to be a little bit of a problem. You could see why immediately, right? You could see that I'm taking shots from there's a hunter down there that's killing us, and yeah, so we're getting wrecked by that guy. Yeah, and then it's not really only that guy either, right? So even if you can take him out, you can see the Kabriri cultist shows up and just one-shots most of my team. We get some good old-fashioned revenge on these guys with some mass summons. It feels cheesy, but unfair is cheesy, so... Devs, Owlcat, y'all deserve this. You put the items in the game, I'm going to use them. I'm going to use them. Because some of the encounters are just ridiculous. Like, you absolutely have to cheese some of this stuff. Otherwise, it's I don't see how some of it's even possible without cheese. Right, so then after that, we're able to take those guys out. And there's a second set of ghouls and undead behind that, with some ranged guys in there, and the cultist here. Right, he's not, so there are two groups of ghouls there. One has just undead, and the other one has these ranged guys and the cultist. What I was initially trying to do was use the mass summons to take out both groups at the same time, but it doesn't really work. So I use the mass summons on the first group, kind of use them to hold off the main chunk of the second group, and like pull them in bit by bit and take them out in like a staggered kind of formation. So we're able to take it all out without too much trouble this time. That wasn't cheese. That was straight up good tactics, I think. And then after that, you know, we're running along. Oh my god, more gargoyles. So, alright, let's head a convenient cliff right next to them. The devs 100% intended for this to be how you do it, right? There's no way they didn't plan for this. Because look at all these cliff sides right next to gargoyles. It's 100% intended. So then, yeah, pulling them into range, taking them out with obviously just shooting them from way the hell up here until they all go down. And then I do make a bit of a mistake here in assuming that is really the only problem. But nope, there are like 7 Incubi down there as well. So, and the second you walk off, right, the second you pass that athletic check and go down, they aggro you. So, yeah. Thankfully I saved right before going down, and yeah, we're able to just take them out that way. You know, drop some fireballs, drop a summon. Unfortunately, the only summon I have left is the Azata. And yeah, we take them out that way, and then we come down the cliff and shoot the gargoyles up here. These take a bit of maneuvering to get, because I didn't have summons. If you have summons, it'll be way easier. If you have summon slots left, way easier. But I didn't, so I have to like run around and find the optimal kind of location. And then we do the puzzle here to summon our good friend, the Archer. Well, not summon her, she's in jail, and you can recruit her into your party if you do this. If you don't do this, you get her later, but you definitely want to do this because she is strong. I think in terms of damage, she's second only to maybe Camellia. I think Camellia is probably my strongest character, honestly, at this point, in terms of raw damage. But she's a close second, and she fits into my party so well because she's amazing at stealth. She's amazing at trickery. She has amazing perception. So she basically fills the role of Woljif. She fills the role of Lan perfectly. Except for the spells. I'm missing some of Lan's spells for sure, but she other than that, she slots in perfectly. And then after that, right, so after summoning our jailed Temptress, we do proceed on further here.
Out of my sight.
Yes, out of my sight. And here, rather than Incubi, we run into Succubi. Fitting, right after summoning our Succubus friend, we run into some of her sisters, her corrupted sisters. And yeah, so can you guess what we're doing here? Yeah, we're running straight to the cliff to pass that athletics check and flee up the cliff. I can imagine, just imagine this in real life. You're like running away from something and then you scale way the hell up a cliff and start shooting at. Like, I think I'd be paralyzed at the bottom of the cliff to kind of mouth agape. Like, how the hell did they get up there that quick? That would be my reaction. So after you kill those Succubi, right, this guy's standing in the back. Stringy Demodand is very high level, very low reward for a very high risk here. But he's part of the encounter, so you kind of have to take him out. I almost die here because I didn't even know we were still aggroed on him. Well, he wasn't aggroed on us, but because we saved, his position had reset to much closer. He's way slower than the Succubi and Incubi, so he doesn't make it with them. And so yeah, we make it up the cliff. If you don't have high athletics and you can't pass those checks, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. But this thing does not take a lot of damage, right? Level 20. It is level 20. 46 AC. Doesn't have great saves, right? But yeah, it takes a long time. I don't want to, do anything special to take it out. I'm just going to do the standard shoot it from up there, and it took a very long time. I went AFK for part of that, just leaving my guys shooting it. And then after that, right, more enemies. What a surprise. But look where we are now. You can kind of see, right, so there are more undead here. We're getting close. We're getting back towards the cave entrance here. Back towards the cave entrance with the gargoyles and stuff. So you can see it's not bad. The undead themselves, not too much of a challenge to deal with. And I actually, this group I don't even take back to the cliffside. We just tank and spank them and take them down that way. It's not bad. Yeah, so very, very straightforward encounter, but then we run into this guy. This place is the gift that just keeps on giving. Thankfully, the devs gave us the gift of the cliffside so that we can use to take these guys out. But this place is just relentless, right? While you're running along the cliffside up there, it's just encounter after encounter. I mean, not wearing armor for most of my run initially was probably what made it the worst. But yeah, it's relentless. This whole place is. And so we run into that named guy who drains levels and some other nasty stuff. He has an aura that does some... Yeah, so we're like, okay, we're going to cheese this. How are we going to cheese this? So he's not standing there. He only spawns when you walk up to him. So what I opt to do is use the sacrificial doggo as usual. Poor thing. This thing is worth its weight in gold. Poor doggo. Seriously. He's such a trooper. He's willing to take one for the team, no questions asked. So I cast Death Ward on him, on Doggo, because I don't want him to lose levels. I do love him still, so cast Death Ward on him, run there, pull Maugla or Maugla or whatever, Maugla. I don't even know how you'd pronounce that. And then we run back, bring Doggo back to the group. And here, you gotta be a bit careful because unless you have Death Ward on everyone, you absolutely do not want that aura touching you. So make sure you go up the cliff before the aura reaches you. And definitely before the aura overlaps with the cliffside or anything like that. And is able to hit any of your guys up there. So right, we get up here and then I don't have any... Oh, I do have summons. I do have summons left because I did rest. Okay. So I have summons left, which makes it easy to pull him to the cliffside. The first time I tried this, I got him all the way up to the cliffside and then he ran away. Unfortunately, the summons were not able to catch his attention quick enough. So you can see here, right, we're able to get his attention, pull him over to the cliffside, and then after that, it's basically just a question of waiting until he dies. right? Not particularly interesting or amazing to watch gameplay, unfortunately, because there just doesn't require any serious thought or anything like that. And he drops some nice stuff, right? Braces of armor +4, big game gloves, which are really nice. 2 AC penalty, becomes sickened. I don't know where these gloves announce as a quarry. I don't know exactly how that works. I didn't see an ability on, I was on LAN, I didn't see an ability on him. I guess I need to look into that. But yeah, and then after that, some good old, this is the last encounter in the whole place. This is, with these guys, we are 100% at Lost Chapel. Right, but these guys are worth doing. So there's a reason why, well, I didn't know. I just actually came in here for good old-fashioned revenge. But if you're thinking of skipping these guys, you don't want to, because you definitely want the loot that comes off or out of the chests here. So right, pretty straightforward spamming summons. Nothing to see here. This thing, that thing right there, that is what we're looking for. And you can see, right, Book of Dreams, your travels. So I haven't seen a first page, I haven't seen a third page, I haven't seen any other pages anywhere, but look at it. Your summons in the effect of Greater Longstrider and Good Hope. So I dropped this on Darren because he is my summoning guy, and I basically gave him everything, all the summon stuff, the Azata summon, the Deva summon, all that stuff is on him now, and he obviously has his good old-fashioned summon skeletons as well. Alright, so these are just some bonus encounters I threw in here. I'm probably going to make a separate video on this thing specifically, the Hunter Retriever, because you can cheese the hell out of this assuming you have not done one very specific thing. So in the Leper Smile map, there's this little kind of cliffside that this has to be intentional. This is 100% intentional by the devs. There's no way they're not thinking of people doing this. But look at this, right? So he's very susceptible to fire-based spells. You can't shoot him from here, but the edge of your AoE can just like lick him from there. And yeah, you just nuke him to death from that cliffside, and he cannot do a thing to you there. Another encounter down here that we skipped were the 3 Vrocks. This I don't really end up cheesing that badly. We do execute a couple of them with Slumber and then run in away, kiting the other one down, because the aggro management on it is a bit of a mess. It's not staying aggroed on the right people. It's not staying aggroed on the right people. So we come back here and yeah, just take it out. The Hunter Retriever thing's pretty cool though. Do you want to do it? Drops a nice the necklace is okay. It gives you some poison resist, but it drops a really nice dagger. That's great. If only Woljif hadn't abandoned me. Well, he's back now in Act 3. He just shows up, no fanfare, nothing, doesn't say a thing, and he's just back. But I don't use him anymore. So I've already adapted to not having Woljif around. And then we're down here in Nenyo's place, right, and take out the Ghouls there, and then back to Moondance Meadow for the last set of revenge encounters over here. And guess what we're going to do? Guess how we're going to take them out? Would you look at that? We use an army of the undead to take out some undead. And they do not stand a chance. Those 3 level 14s just get absolutely annihilated. That's going to be it from me today. We're basically done with Act 2, just Drezen. We're going to pick up there tomorrow or whenever we meet again. Thanks for joining me.